It remains with the same guy in the book. So it is interesting also because the book starts on the last day of summer and go on into the school year, like fall, like where here it is just the summer, which makes it even closer to all of the coming-of-age movies that have existed and that I remember seeing when I was young as well.
And I think it's a fantastic playground for me. Water park is very cinematographic.
Yeah, cinematographic.
Yeah. I think it was more interesting for us to do that. But what I have to say is there's 2 other books. So it's the trilogy, and we're working on the sequel. We're joining our books together to do like Coeurdeslush 2, Billie Blue 2, and it starts as the first book on the first day of school, after Billie left, because Annette left at the end of the first film, and Billie the next year will leave to join her sister in the big city in Montreal.
Oh, wow, we can't wait for that, actually.
Yeah.
So, talking about coming-of-age movies, your movie feels more like a movie from the 1970s, and that's because of something you actually mentioned when you talked about the film at the beginning. It's about the nudity images, which were not so heavily censored in the 70s like they are now, especially when there is a young actress or at least a character who's supposed to be only 16. Nowadays, I don't think we would be able to do such a movie which was made in the 70s or early 80s, like The Blue Lagoon, with Brooke Shield, or even Brooke Shield playing a prostitute child, in the movie by Louis Malle. How is it nowadays? Did you find any opposition from some of the producers or some of the actors, or is it different? The perception is different in Canada and the US, maybe?
I think it's different in Quebec than the United States. No, it was not a problem. In fact, I was thinking a lot about this scene, how I will image it.
I will film it.
Film it.
The use of the camera.
Yeah, and what will be the duration? What do I see here, like nudity or just what I want to do? And it's gonna give some problem after if it's only 16 years old category film. We will miss a lot of public. So I was thinking, because for us it was very important that scene is like the main scene in the movie. To be realistic for young people. So the duration for me, I didn't want to do time lapse or ellipse. It was important to be the real duration, but the shortest duration possible to be realistic.
I think it was realistic enough.
And it was important for me and for us, like the consent. So he asked her twice, "Are you okay?" It was important for us that Billie chose to do it that night. It was her decision, and it was important that it's the boy who put the condom. He didn't ask her. He just do it like it was obvious. So it was very important for us to show that kind of sexuality for young people.
Yes, that in the 70s the boy would not have put the condom, that's for sure, because it was before the AIDS, HIV era, and that was not the case. But what's interesting as well in the way you use the camera is 2 things I've noticed, and even more by watching it on the big screen, is the way the camera films Billie Blue is a very sensual way, because yes, she's very tall, as we noticed, but the camera really kind of strokes her. But also, what's very interesting, I find, is the way we see Pierre in the point of view of Billie Blue, and that's the feminist point of view, I think, in that movie, is that Pierre appears as the sexual object, not so much Billie Blue. Annette, it's a little bit tricky. In my younger days, we would have, between girls, gossiped and say that Annette was a slut, because, she, for the boys, would have been considered an easy lay, and for the girls, she would have been considered as the girls who just, goes with the boys, and with many boys, as apparently it was. But in the movie, Pierre, like the close-up on his skin, on his tattoo, on his nipple, which is something that you usually see on a woman, this is what Billie Blue sees, and that is very interesting. So Pierre, the male, is the sexual object, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like
The object of design.
And because it's her story, it's Mariloup story, it's Billie Blue point of view was important, was always by her point of view, always the camera was her point of view, was very important for me not to lose that when I was filming it. And I think, like, yeah, I would like to do like feminist way to see it as well. And for us, Annette, it's not a slut. It's important to celebrate sexuality. It's feminist sexuality, I don't know, women sexuality, and yeah, to celebrate it, not to shame it. So for us, it's important to show some kind of those kind of women, but like they're not slut. Like
No, but that's what we would have shown
in the
them
past.
in the 1970s and 70s, yeah.
But
right.
that's interesting that nowadays it's no more like that, and I hope so. So that's the message that we want, that the little girl, that the young girl, keep it in their mind.
Yeah, can have everything and can be anything. Yes. There is something else also that differs from the book in the movie. The book doesn't have any LGBTQ character, doesn't have any ethnic minority character. So did you decide with the author, since she participated in the writing of the scenario, did you decide that it was necessary to include those two minority characters because of the era that we live in?
Yes, this is the era, we have to be inclusive. We did that choice together, Sarah and I. It was obvious, because the book, it was written like the stories 2000, so now 2024 we have to be inclusive.
To adapt.
Yeah, to adapt it, yeah.
A question about the musical score, which is absolutely amazing. Will it be released separately?
No, but you can, but on Spotify, there's the soundtrack without all the famous song. But I did if you write the coeurdeslush on Spotify, you can have the whole thing. So the score with all the songs.
Okay, it's for a French-born person like I am, having Joe Dassin included in a 2023 movie. It's kind of a nostalgic trip, trip down memory lane, something like that. But he was very famous, and he had this wonderful song about the Indian summer, which is something very Canadian. So that's nice to know as well. Yeah, and the camera that you used. How did you do those shots, which are so poetic, in the pool with Billie Blue? Can you explain how you did that?
It was difficult because the actress wasn't comfortable under the water, so we practiced a lot. She had some training to learn how to breathe under the water, to keep her breath longer and longer, and relax and open her eyes and do all that stuff. So she was trained for 4 or 5 training, 2-3 hours. So after that, she was more comfortable to do it. And I have a underwater camera, and but I can see the images. I'm not under the water, so I can see the images at the same time. And we choreograph all the scenes, the movement. But when I read the script, all the scenes were kind of similar. So I had to find, okay, what I'm gonna do to every time that we're going under the sea, what is the thing which is more linked to her emotions, what's gonna be different from the other. So I was working on that to the progression of all these images, and for me it was the best part, because I can do many things, very poetic, so I have freedom to illustrate the beautiful images, beautiful things, beautiful emotions. And after that, it brings me to create some other images with all the confetti in the karaoke bar or in the field. So that was my idea that I add to the script.
Yes, that's absolutely very poetic, and like you said at the beginning, the writing is rather poetic. So my last question before giving the the microphone to some of you, may have some more questions. Will you keep the same actress in the second?
Of course.
Ah, okay, great.
I love her. Do you love
She's
her?
wonderful. She's absolutely wonderful.
It was her first experience. Her first.
Was it?
Yes. She was in an agency, but she hadn't played like a lot before. So, and she came for when we asked for audition at the second. Like a year before we did the movie, and I met her. I said, "Oh, she's really interesting." So I crossed my finger the year after, that she will still be so authentic, so beautiful, so natural, and yes, she was. But the things with that open to an open casting to everyone, and because the book was very successful, we had more than 800 girls who applied for the job. Yeah, and she got the job.
Yeah. She's absolutely wonderful. I've never seen her in a movie before, but she's striking. She occupies the screen completely. I mean, and the camera really does her justice to her beauty, because she's not only talented, she's also very beautiful.
Yeah. Very natural. Very.
Yeah.
It's very small what she's doing, and you can feel everything. And she doesn't have red hair, and she doesn't have freckles.
Really?
Yeah.
So what color is her hair? Châtain? Yeah, châtain, or chestnut hair. Oh wow, that's amazing. Talking about a last comment I will say is, for those of you who speak French, who actually listen without, raise your hand please, without looking at the subtitles.
We have a French people.
So the French people, you all looked at the subtitles too? Okay, so I'm not the only one. Okay. So, anybody who has a question among the public?